Hello, happy Sunday. I hope you've had a good weekend and you're enjoying your Sunday afternoons. I've had a lovely weekend actually, and today's been particularly relaxing. So there was football this morning and both the kids' teams won, which is always nice. But it was a lovely sunny day as well. It felt really warm, like a really nice autumnal day, so really enjoyed it. And I've spent the afternoon kind of cooking and baking. So I'm doing a bit of a dessert thing at the moment. So I'm making a Sunday dinner at the moment, which I don't very often do. And I've got some cakes that I've got a cake in the oven. I've made a cheesecake. I do quite often make cheesecake, but I made a tiramisu this weekend as well. So I kind of feel like I've got a lot of the dessert thing going on, which is good, and probably will make me need a nana nap, which is what we're about to talk about today. So the reason I want to talk about nana naps today, and by nana nap I mean like an afternoon snooze. I don't know why we call it a nana nap. I just think, well, maybe it's what your nana used to do. But it's one of those phrases where I quite often go and have a cheeky nana nap, and I do like to kind of lie down and relax and kind of fall asleep mid-afternoon if you know, if I've got the option to do it. It doesn't happen very often, but I definitely could kind of live like the Spanish and have my lunch and then have a siesta. I'm all on board for that, definitely. But the reason I want to talk about the nana nap is actually about brain power. So the prefrontal cortex, easy for me to say, the prefrontal cortex part of your brain, it's kind of it makes up about 10% of your brain, but it's actually a really important part of your brain because it controls decision making, problem solving and self-control. And so the prefrontal cortex really helps you work towards those longer term goals. It helps you focus on those longer term goals. But it's a finite amount of resource in that prefrontal cortex, and it's recharged when you have a sleep. So when you wake up in the morning, hopefully having slept really well all night, your prefrontal cortex will be kind of fully charged and on form. But when you do all of those things, like just when you're decision making, so when you're making decisions, when you're solving problems, or when you're exercising willpower, actually that depletes some of that resource within that prefrontal cortex. So actually what you end up doing is running it down, and that's why actually if one day you're making kind of an awful lot of decisions, suddenly you might not have as much self-control at the end of the day. Or if you're problem solving, or you've had like a really demanding day at work, you might kind of get in from work and actually, you know, open the fridge, nothing's organised for tea, and actually, you know, you've got decisions to make and you've got your self-control kind of, and your prefrontal cortex is a bit worn down. That's when you're more likely to go, do you know what, I'm just going to order a takeaway tonight instead, because actually, you know, it's just easier and I haven't got the energy. And actually it's not the energy you haven't got, it's the brain power that you haven't got to kind of do that, make that decision to cook something healthy, and help you kind of stick towards your long-term goals. So that's why your prefrontal cortex is really powerful, really important. But the really interesting thing is that sleep refreshes it. So if you've got something particularly challenging that you want to do, or kind of problem solving and things like that, actually the best time to do that, the best time of the day to do that is first thing on the morning. So ideally kind of getting up and starting on your most challenging task and kind of working on that, or thinking about in terms of that achieving your long-term goals, working on something that's going to take you towards your longer term goals is actually a real positive as well. So if you do that first when your prefrontal cortex is kind of fully charged, if you like, then that's a great time to do it. And then ideally save the things that are much easier, the things that are maybe a bit more fun, where you don't have to solve problems and make decisions, maybe things like meetings. If you do them in the afternoon, then actually you know, when your prefrontal cortex is depleted somewhat, actually you need to limit the amount of decisions you're making. So if you can do that by kind of, you know, having some meetings or doing kind of catch-ups, then that's ideal. So the other thing that you can do is reduce the number of decisions you need to make. So actually Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, and Barack Obama both are known for doing this, reducing the number of decisions that they make. And they've both done that through their choices of outfits. So I think Mark Zuckerberg literally wears the same thing every day, kind of jeans, white t-shirt and a grey hoodie. And so I've seen pictures of kind of his wardrobe where that literally is all that's hanging in there. And the idea is that he doesn't need to waste the energy thinking about what he's going to wear that day. It's just one decision taken out of the equation. And Barack Obama, apparently when he was president, did the same thing as well. So he literally had, I think, 2 different colour suits, and he literally just alternated the suits. And so again, he didn't, from a decision making perspective, he didn't waste his energy kind of working out what to wear. So that's something that actually, if one of the things that you're doing is working towards kind of a longer term goal, or you want to show more self-control, for example, then, and be less impulsive, then one of the things you can do is try and limit some of your decisions. And you can do that by kind of doing some planning. So going back to the example about the kind of going in the fridge at the end of the day and kind of trying to work out what you're going to cook for tea. Actually, if you've got your meals planned well in advance, then that's a really good idea, because it means that, you don't have to make a decision when you get home, and you don't have to exercise your self-control. So you could kind of plan your meals for the week and you know what you're going to have. Or actually, you could plan your clothes out for the week, kind of going back to the different workwear kind of examples. You could plan your clothes out for the week and say, actually, this is what I'm going to wear this week. And then it just takes that decision making away on the day when, it's one of those things that you have to do. So the point about a nana nap is, if you've had a day where you've had to make lots of decisions and you've done all of those things, and you've maybe had a challenging day where you've been doing problem solving, actually you can have a nana nap, and that will recharge your prefrontal cortex as well. So actually kind of lying down in the middle of the day or in the afternoon or whatever, and having a brief snooze really does help do that kind of recharging, because it is a finite amount of kind of energy that you've got in the prefrontal cortex. So if you can lie down and have a nana nap and have a sleep, then it just tops it up a little bit. So actually it means that, for the rest of the day you'll have more self-control, and you'll be able to make more decisions or solve more problems or whatever. It might just be that you actually feel like you can go out and face things and go out and do stuff, which is always great. So that's why a nana nap is so useful. Hi Emma, thanks for watching. So it really is kind of, it really is important to, Emma loves a nana nap as well, which is great. Do you know what, it is so useful, and it really is good to, if you think about it, if you want to achieve your longer term goals, or there's something you want to do, or there's something you're working towards, to know that actually you can go and have a snooze, kind of if you feel like you're getting worn down, go and have a snooze and then come back and then you'll be regenerated and you'll be more able to tackle something, then that's great. And actually you'll have more self-control and more willpower. So, if it's eating healthier, for example, is one of those things that you want to do, then actually having a nana nap is great, because it's going to help you maintain that willpower and that self-control. So that's why I'm a big fan of the nana nap. Anyway, that's everything for today. So thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later. Bye Emma. Bye.